Hey there LEGO fam, I'm Justin and you're watching Good Life Bricks. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about another 2024 LEGO Star Wars release, set 75383, Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator. This set came out with 640 pieces. It was released on May 1st of 2024. It had 4 minifigures, all of which were exclusive to this set, and it cost $70. Not a bad value, and one of the minifigs was the highly anticipated Saw Gerrera, part of the 25th anniversary collection. And we'll talk about him in a little bit, but they knocked it out of the park with that minifig. We'll do a little comparison with some previous Sith Infiltrators and their minifigures, and we'll just take a look and see what we think. So before we get started, please don't forget, like the video if you would, and please subscribe. Both of those things help me as I continue to try to build this channel and provide valuable and fun content for everyone. With that in mind, let's dig in. So you're looking at LEGO Star Wars set 75383, Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator from 2024. It is a nice little ship, little being the operative word, because as I will show you in a few minutes, the previous couple of versions were considerably bigger. I have it up on a stand. This stand is one that I purchased off of Etsy. It's an acrylic based stand and it's custom for this set, but I like it because it came with a spot for the main minifigures that came with this set and for Darth Maul's speeder bike. I thought that was a nice addition, and it allowed me to display it, you know, behind things, but still have it stand out and above other sets. The set is the basic Sith Infiltrator that we saw back in The Phantom Menace back in 1998, and it is not much different than every other Sith Infiltrator that we've seen over the years. The key is that it is considerably smaller. It came with 3 minifigures, and the last couple of, I think, come with 4. The one that we're missing here probably is Padme, but it did come with the 25th anniversary minifigure of Saw Gerrera. This is a fantastic minifigure all around. Every aspect of this minifigure was well done, and so I really like that. I did a review not long ago on the 25th anniversary minifigures and my thoughts about them, and little changes I made to make them a little bit closer to the source material. But Saw Gerrera was perfect. I mean, there's really no changes that a person would want to make. So I was really pleased with that. Of course, we have Darth Maul, Anakin, and Qui-Gon. Those are really good minifigures, and I love that they gave Qui-Gon a poncho, and I think that's the second time, if I'm not mistaken, that they've given Qui-Gon a poncho. So we'll take a look at that as well. The ship, like I said, is smaller than what we've seen in the past. Still came with 640 pieces, so we'll see how that stacks up against other Sith Infiltrators from years gone by. Let's take a closer look. So here's the Sith Infiltrator. I removed the stand, lowered the landing gear on the front, and then it sits on the ball, kind of bubble cockpit area in the back. You have to fold the wings up so that they clear the ground. That's normal. That's the way it would land, and then they would extend when it flies. The main opening area is back here with the cockpit, where the boarding ramp comes down and these open up, and you have full access into the cockpit. So you can see the control panel, these clips that I think are really meant just as stoppers for these other pieces. I guess you could put Darth Maul's lightsaber there if you wanted to, and that would keep it out of the way. I like how they put green pieces underneath here, trans green plate, so you can kind of see through these grills. See that green color in there, as well as the trans yellow up here. Those are nice little touches. There is a lot of detail on this ship. If you look here, I love this when they use the various size curved plate pieces, and it translates into a really cool design, and they did that on both sides. So that's kind of nice. Again, these wings fold in and unfold so you can go landing and flying mode. And then another kind of cool addition here is this area. Now that this has existed in previous versions of this ship, and you can see Darth Maul's probe droids are in there. And what's new here, though, is that if you pull on this little piece here, it moves that red piece out of the way, and the door falls open, and the probe droids fall out. And then you just pop that back into place, and it's closed. Now, these probe droids are a little bit different than they've been in the past. Usually they would have an antenna on them, and it looks like they used a piece that is like a small antenna, but they just look a little bit different. We'll do a little comparison, and I'll show you what I mean. Not bad. So I love it when they hide the missile shooters, and they did in this, and there's two of them. So if I push this, it fires, and then I push this, and it fires. So that's a really nice feature, because honestly, otherwise, if you look at this ship, you'd have a hard time even seeing that it has the missile shooters unless you looked at it straight on, because it's well hidden right in the nose. That's the way it should be. I mean, that's a really nice way to do it. It's hidden away, but it's present. I think it's a good feature, and I think it's a good way to pull it off. I think the other thing that's standout feature of this ship, and really what we've seen in a lot of the 2024 builds, is the level of detail. Look at all the greebling, look at all of the character and detail that you find in this ship. There is just so much to see, so much to look at, and it adds, so much depth to the build when you look at all of those little extra pieces that add character. I mean, this is not a light ship for its size. It's actually surprisingly heavy. It's got a large, it's 600, almost 640 pieces just on this ship alone. It feels like it. It feels solid. There's a lot here, a lot to look at, and a lot to enjoy. So let's take a look at the minifigures. So this set came with 4 minifigures. And we've got Anakin, Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and then the 25th anniversary minifigure as part of that collection is Saw Gerrera. So starting with Anakin, this is fairly typical of the young Anakin that we've seen over the years. And they gave him a little bit of back printing on the torso. The hairpiece is that typical young, kind of messy hair. And then the front portion of his torso also has the printing with the belt that goes all the way around. He's got some freckles on his face. He's got kind of a surprised look. You've given him a second face with a smile. And so that's fairly typical, like I said, of what we've seen with Anakin. Darth Maul is a lot of the same. There's not a lot of difference. I like, if I move this lightsaber out of the way, you see that the interior robes that he wears come all the way down his legs, and then they even gave him the kind of the toes, the shoes or boots or whatever it is he's wearing. There's no print on the side of his legs. There is full torso print, and of course they gave him the horns with the coloring that goes all the way up his head and up into that horn piece that can come off. And so when you put it back on, you just twist it to make it work with the coloring on his face. A little bit of back printing here around the belt, and then in the shoulders and the lower back. So not a bad minifig, not super unique. But obviously unique to this set. Qui-Gon is probably the one that they did the most for. They gave him his poncho which I like. I like those features. This is the typical Qui-Gon hairpiece. They actually have his sideburns for his beard going all the way up. They also put a little gray. I don't know if you can see right there in the corner of his beard, a little bit of gray. They gave him a second face, which is a little more serious or a little more aggressive. That would be his Time to Fight Darth Maul face. They gave him printing all the way down his legs and up on his torso, and then also on his back. His green lightsaber with the metallic silver hilt. And the hairpiece is, like I said, the typical Qui-Gon, but I really like that because it's that longer hair that turns into a ponytail and goes down his back. In fact, it even keeps us from being able to lift up the poncho. Saw Gerrera is a part of the 25th anniversary collection, and they just killed it with this minifigure. They gave him his armor in green and with some shading on the shoulder, torso print all the way down to his feet and his legs, printing on the side of the armor. No arm printing, but it's mostly hidden by that armor. They gave him the different colored hand, the glove, and a great hairpiece, good face print, a second face print. It's a little more serious and angry. This cape piece is fantastic. It provides great accent to the armor, and it's just really nice. And then printing on his back below the armor. And then they gave him the two-piece walking stick, which was another great addition. The other thing, when it's part of the build, and you the way I have it displayed is with the minifigures, is the Darth Maul speeder. And you might remember he took off from his ship as he went searching for the Jedi on Tatooine, and then as they were heading out to the desert to get on their ship, he came riding this thing out to them, flips off the bike and goes after Qui-Gon, and they engage for a few moments before Qui-Gon jumps back up onto the ship. So this is a nice speeder bike, very small, just several pieces, but it's got great color and very realistic, and I thought they did a good job with this one. I think everything in this set is quality. It's just much smaller than what we're used to. I'm not saying that's bad. For me personally, in fact, that's a good thing, because in my displays, it's easy for me to find a place to display this ship. It's the ones I'm about to show you that are hard because they're much larger. So let's go ahead and take a look at the previous two versions of this set and see what we think. So here are the three most recent versions of the Sith Infiltrator, and that does not include any of the micro versions that have come out in recent years. So the 2011 version, 7961, Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator, it has 479 pieces and 4 minifigures, all of which are unique to this set. Then you have the 2015 version, 75096, just called the Sith Infiltrator. It has 662 pieces and 8 minifigures, 6 of which are unique. So what's interesting about this is that you have these 5 minifigures. Everyone but R2-D2 is unique to this set, but then you have 3 probe droids, which I'll show you in a minute, which they're counting as minifigures for this set and calling them unique. And then finally, you have the newest version, which, like I told you, is 640 pieces and 4 minifigures, all unique. The newest one costs $70. The 2015 cost $90, and the 2011 also costs $70. So in terms of overall value, you'll have to decide for yourself which you think is the best value. But $70 for 640 pieces, $90 for 662 pieces, or $70 for 479 pieces. 4 minifigures, really 5 minifigures and 3 probe droids, and 4 minifigures. So it's interesting, I think, the way LEGO approached this. I believe that the newest version and the 2015 version are most similar. this one is the most unique out of all of them. Actually, this one, the entire body lifts up, and so you have the little probe droids here, which are just very simple, kind of a black head piece with an antenna attached to it, and they can all drop out of the bottom there. It also, while I had this up, flick fire missiles, one on each side. And then all three of them open in a very similar fashion. So this one has a lift up opening right here, and these sides open up as well. The speeder bike is right here, and this is a substantially larger speeder than what we have seen in the other versions. The speeder on this one is slightly larger as well, but if we look at all three of them together, this one's really big. These two are a little more similar in size. So the probe droids sit right in here, and there's a mechanism here on the side that you press. The probe droids come out, and you can see what I was talking about, the antenna. I don't know, I actually think this one looks more realistic than probably even the newest one. I think this is a good version of that probe droid. And there's three of them, and so they actually count those as minifigures. So I think that's kind of unique. So you can see there's similarity here in that all of them have an opening top for you to put the probe droids down inside, and they all have opening backs as well, and I'll turn them around so we can see that. So as we look at the interiors from the back, this ramp folds all the way down. This ramp over here folds all the way down, as does this one. As you take a closer look, these two look very similar. They have the opening top portion of the bubble. They have ramps that fold down. This one has a moving chair, which is unique to all of the builds. And then this one just has kind of an open spot with some handles there for control, and a little more detailed cockpit area. There's no control panel in this one, but it uses a steering column that moves around pretty freely, and it's very similar to the steering column that you see here on the speeder. So then on the third one over here, there is a control panel down inside. So as I look at this, and I'll show you as we close them up, and it folds over, and then the lid comes down, the top comes down, and then here is a very similar kind of mechanism. And then here, this one's just a little bit different because you start by folding the bottom up, and then the top comes down to meet it. So they all fold up pretty tight. I think these two, again, are the most similar. They look the closest, except for the size. This is by far the biggest, and it's slightly bigger than this one from a piece count perspective. I will say that as a collector, and a collector with finite amount of space, I like what Lego has been doing in terms of their ability to reduce the footprint of some of the sets and keep them to scale. This is large, and I really don't have a place to display it. In fact, I had it sitting in a drawer underneath one of my shelves because it's so big I just don't have a space for it. This one I could put on a stand, and the same with this one. I do have a place for it, but it is large and it takes up a lot of that space, and will end up having to go in storage as some of the 2025 more of the 2025 releases come out. One other thing to note is that this has the projectile missile shooters, and they fire well. And they're not hidden, however. They're just right up here, and you can really see them from the back. And then this one from 2011 had the flick fire, and 2024 has the very hidden projectile missiles. So taking a look at the minifigures from each set, we have Captain Panaka, Padme Amidala, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. And Darth Maul's lightsaber is folded into, they have a little mechanism inside there in the cockpit where it can be held. In the 2015 version, they gave us Watto, R2-D2, young Anakin, Darth Maul, and Qui-Gon, and again we see the poncho just like in 2024. They also, like I told you, count each of these probe droids as minifigures. And if you buy that, you have a total of 8 here, 4 here, and 4 here. So I don't buy it, but you know, that's okay. All of these sets have a great minifigure lineup. They really do. The 2024 version has the most different because they've got Saw Gerrera, but this is probably just as unique a lineup because it's so rare for us to have Watto. In fact, Watto is a highly valued minifigure because we just don't see him very often at all. And even the 2011 gave us Captain Panaka, which is another rare minifigure that we don't see very often. So, you know, all 3 sets do well in terms of the builds, their minifigure, and the features and play functionality of each of the ships. And there are some real commonalities. I would say that my favorite of these is this one, and I wish I could display it. I just like how much access there is to the interior. I love this minifigure lineup, and I think that's really great. And then next would be the 2024 version for the minifigures, and again, some great play features. And then finally is the 2011 version. And the only reason is because I'm not a huge fan of like this whole opening of the structure, but I do think these are fantastic minifigures, great ships, and it's fun to be able to look at them and compare them. I hope you enjoyed this look at LEGO Star Wars Set 75383 Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator. Actually, all of them, the 2024 set, the 2015 set, and the 2011 set as well. I hope the comparison helped you see maybe the benefits of the newest set. It is a high piece count. It's got probably the lowest price for piece count of all 3 of the sets. Certainly it is much smaller footprint, but it still has everything that the other 2 sets have, maybe with the exception of the antenna on the probe droids. But I think, you know, the minifigure lineup and the set itself makes it a compelling set for 2024. And it does follow suit with what LEGO has been doing lately of reducing the overall footprint. That bothers some people. Some people really like it. I fall in the camp of appreciating it because, again, finite space equals hard to display really large sets. So, you know, I think as long as they don't get rid of important components, I think making them a little smaller, they have to stay minifigure scale. As long as they do that, then I don't mind a little reduction in size. So I like the set. I think it was a good addition for 2024. The 25th year anniversary of LEGO Star Wars. I think they did a good job on the set. So thank you for watching. Thanks for being a part of the channel. Thank you for your comments and your likes and all of those things. I would ask you to keep that up. Would you please like the video if you enjoyed it? And I really would encourage you to leave a comment anytime you have something on your mind, a question or feedback for me. The liking, the subscribing, the commenting, all of those things help my channel a lot and help me to continue to build a channel that is focused on growing and giving you a look at all the LEGO Star Wars sets that are out there. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you soon.